So, in part one, I talked a bit about my background in academia, studying comparative mysticism and advanced biopsychology. Now, I want to share about what I've learned. In comparing mystical concepts from around the world, it's clear there are a number of overlaps, consistencies, and similarities. First is the idea of mentalism. It's the first Hermetic principle and consistent among all mystical conceptualizations. The idea that mind phenomena, consciousness, is not a product of or contained within the mechanisms of the biological systems. Mind and matter are just flip sides of the same coin. As the psychologist Carl Jung put it, I do believe some part of the human self or soul is not subject to the laws of space and time. That's why meditation and hypnosis can manifest miraculously, and why we observe all sorts of anomalous parapsychological phenomenon like remote viewing, clairvoyance, past life recall, etc. Also, as an aspect of this is the collectively accepted concept of numinous or spiritual experience. These are meditative journeys, sometimes visual, always perceptual. They're trips within the mind or soul and often result in transformative outcomes. Connecting with this concept is also the mystical ideology around energy, also called chi, prana, and life force. There seems to be a certain recognition that vibrational frequencies, often outside of our sensory perception, have a significant effect on our mind states and on the health and wellness of systems. And this vibe can be influenced by our actions, by using certain tools. A tool consistently used in all mystical cultures for healing and journeying is sound and music, vibrational resonance created by the human voice and musical instruments. Certain sounds can create altered states of consciousness and sometimes produce miracles. And I can explain a bit more about the science behind this. It seems part of it has to do with brainwaves and alpha theta entrainment. Basically, entrainment is when the brain and body synchronize with music's frequency or pulse. Like with binaural beats and isochronic tones, when they're played, a different frequency is received in each ear, and the brain responds by entraining to the difference, synchronizing to either awake and alert beta, relaxed and focused alpha, meditative theta, or dream state delta. In the deep, relaxed states, it's been found that the mind is more accessible and manifestation is more attainable. Personally, I started using isochronic tones back in 2010, and I could noticeably feel my neuroprocesses shifting. My dreams and mind states all became much more clear and profound. It is what I've always believed to be one of my most valuable tools in my toolbox. If this sounds familiar, it's because it's the technology used in the Gateway Experience, a secret study by the US government. If you're not familiar with the outcomes, you should look it up. The records were declassified, and it's pretty mind-blowing. But another key among all mystical traditions is consistency, basically ritual. The more you do something, the more dedicated you are to a practice, the more manifestation power it'll have. This also seems to be the case collectively as well, meaning the more people who have done a ritual the same way repeatedly over time, the more manifestation power within that specific ritual. But what are you manifesting? It's a good question, because depending on what it is, you may or may not actually be engaging in mysticism. Because mystical traditions consistently align with a transcendence of ego experience, meaning a shifting away from a mindset focused in personal desire, pleasure-seeking, and other primarily self-centered motives. Mystics of all cultures focus a great deal on letting go of personal attachments to things, people, and situational outcomes, and instead choose to shift into a state of more collective focus and emotion, prioritizing love for the collective all over love for self. Manifesting from this place is mysticism. Otherwise, it's considered magic. Lastly, along with letting go of attachments and transcending ego, mystics also invite and open to receive. They welcome source consciousness, God, the Holy Spirit to inspire them, heal them, teach them, or otherwise give them what they need. They open to intuitive receiving and move forward, discerning the messages that come. And that's it. That's pretty much the basics of mysticism.